Welcome, everyone. We are so glad to have you all here. I am Tanya Cornejo, the new Chief Philanthropy Officer at the United Way. I have only been at the job about 100 days, but it has been quite a ride, and I am so excited to celebrate this kickoff with you. It's such an exciting time to start a new job. I'm so excited, in a way, to be starting during COVID because it's really shown me just how powerful the United Way can be. We are seeing such great need in our community right now, and I am extremely proud to represent an organization that's here to help fill the gaps and really help this community respond and revitalize. I really am hoping to meet you all in person soon, but we'll have to do it virtually. I want to thank you so much for everything you've done and will continue to do. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. We have a wonderful agenda in store for you and a very important announcement. But before we get started, I do want to point out that we will answer questions at the end of this event. So please make sure to put them in the chat box so that we can be sure to address them. Okay, let's get started. Among one of the things I am very, very, very grateful for, and I know all of you are too, is that we have P&G running what will probably be the most important campaign of our lifetime. The timing could not be better, and I am so proud and honored to introduce you to David Taylor, CEO and President of P&G and Chair of this year's United Way campaign. David, thank you so much for everything.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm starting with my mask, but the door's been closed, so I now get to shed this and get a chance to talk to you. And I very much do wish we could have had this in person because, frankly, the message is so important this year. All of you are part of something that's going to make such a difference to this community. So I want to start with just a big thank you for what you have been doing, what you're doing right now, and what you're going to do over the next several months. This is really important. This campaign is really one, and I'll use the word that is so overused today, but we're facing with an unprecedented challenge in many ways. The demands on the United Way have skyrocketed. You know it, you see it in the community, you see it on the news. And yet at the same time, many of the companies and people that we've relied on are under stress. So it's going to be so important that we all step up. And it's one of the reasons why I believe so strongly in the United Way. It is the way to give because it's the most efficient way we can help our community. Now, this year, we've worked very hard to build a broad, very inclusive United Way campaign cabinet. We've worked hard to make sure all elements of our community are represented. We recognize that together, all of us, we can address almost anything that we face. And this year, we face a real big challenge. And it's one that's going to need to tap into the full potential of all of you, and frankly, all of the people that you're going to talk to over the next days, weeks, and months in order to convey the very important message about United Way, about that United is the way. And we hope today to share some information that both helps inform and it touches both the head and the heart because the need is really there. We are trying very hard within both the campaign, and I know Moira will talk to you about in a minute, within the United Way organization, to constructively disrupt the way we've done things in the past. We recognize there's opportunity for us to do better and to be better at what we do. And so as part of the campaign, we've got a very broad group of people, as I mentioned, and we're listening to them and adjusting to new ways to reach and touch people. And I know Moira is doing the same thing at United Way with her organization. It's one of the reasons I'm so excited about the opportunity. I know the demand is real. I'm involved with the Free Store Food Bank, and I recently was talking to Kurt Reiber, and he told me about the 65% increase in the amount of food. Almost 3/4 of the families that he has seen haven't visited the Free Store Food Bank recently or at all. It just speaks to the fact that this pandemic has hit so many people, and they're relying on agencies that United Way supports for help. And so there is both an opportunity and a compelling need for each of us to step up and do what we can. And for that reason, I'm very grateful to all of you for taking the time today, and more importantly, for what you're going to do and have been doing over the last weeks and months. We have a chance to really address the needs of our community. And my hope is at the end of this discussion, you're even more motivated than you were to begin with. And I know you're already very motivated to do everything you can to help and to motivate others so that all of us step up and step forward into this opportunity. I want to turn it over to Moira to talk a little bit about how she and the organization are working hard to be prepared to serve our community in many new and different and exciting ways. Moira?
Thank you, David, and thank you everyone for being here. And I first want to just thank David for his amazing leadership. We couldn't be more grateful and lucky to have P&G helping us. And David and many folks in his team have committed lots of resources to really help us, and we are incredibly grateful, not only for this year's support, but P&G has been a wonderful supporter for all these years, so thank you very much. But yes, I'm going to talk to you today about a new United Way, a United Way that I envisioned when taking over this job in March after leading out for over a decade, Hamilton County Department of Job and Family Services. And I really believe that that job, that experience prepared me for the work ahead of us. Because what you'll hear throughout the day today is the community, we need to help the community because there's a lot of pain and people are scared, and we want to provide hope. So really the mission of the United Way hasn't changed, but I will tell you the need for the United Way is greater today than ever before. And we have pivoted with that and evolved to make sure that we are going to be there for the community. I really believe that United Way has amplified our strength to really meet what is truly a historic time. Tanya said this, I believe this campaign is more critical today than ever before in our past history. And what I'm telling you that we're going to be as a United Way is that we're going to be responsive, we are going to be quick, we are going to be flexible, focused, and very inclusive, because we want to make sure that everyone is represented and everyone has a voice. What began as a health crisis quickly became an economic crisis. I think many of us were caught off guard with the speed in which that happened. And so COVID-19 accelerated certainly my vision, but I'm sure many of your organizations as well, in terms of how we have to pivot and how we have to show up. And how we showed up over COVID-19, you will see that we will do that going forward. And really, we exist at the United Way for region-wide ingrained problems such as what we're experiencing right now. And I know we've all been impacted by COVID, but I want you just to sit and think this for a second. Imagine yourself, you have a family, maybe you have 4 children. Day to day is a struggle. You're already living very close to the margin. One small misstep, one unexpected thing happens, and you could lose everything. And that's what we see happening day in and day out in our community. What do? You have to think about your children. You have to think about feeding your children. Where am I going to sleep? So that's where we're going to talk about our new United Way and how we're going to continue to really build upon our evolution. As I said, we want to be responsive. And for those of you that contributed to the Rapid Response Fund that we did with GCF, thank you so much. You saw firsthand how quickly we were able to raise more than $7.3 million and immediately deploy those dollars in less than 3 months. I mean, that just speaks to the need in the community. And we did that because of the great generosity of all of you, but we also knew that we were the first to show up to say, this is a severe impact in our community, what can we do? We also know that we have to be flexible going forward, that we have to be flexible with our funding because the needs are changing every day. And one thing that we wanted to do was assure our agency partners that we were there for them and we would support them and we would advance additional allocations to help them meet the needs of the community. And embedded in everything we do, we want it to be inclusive and have equity in all of our decisions. Our hallmark impact areas, which are quality education, basic needs, financial stability, and quality health, that is at core of who we are, and built in that, of course, is equity. And we're building upon this 100-year history of those important areas. When we address inequity in our impact areas, we can move effectively through as a system to address and disrupt the cycle of poverty that devastates our most vulnerable communities and families. We have reached out very intentionally with engaging non-traditional partners, faith-based organizations, other community members, just to make sure that we have been inclusive in this community. Already we have more than 150 nonprofits in diverse communities that we were able to distribute, thanks to Procter Gamble, masks and sanitizers. I mean, and I will tell you, when staff were handing out these, sometimes just as an individual walking down the street, people were like, oh my gosh, you saved my life. I mean, that was how impactful and powerful that was. I think one of our greatest strengths and resources and really assets is that we are a convener. We are seen as a neutral broker, so to speak. We can bring organizations together. For example, we bring social service organizations together. We talk about the program needs, and that's critical because that's solving an immediate need. But we also know we have to think through how do we address the systemic issues. And that's where we can bring government to the table. And we can talk about the policies and the procedures or the practices that are really impacting our families. And so we can advocate through that work. We bring businesses to the table because we know businesses have great ideas in terms of innovation, but they can also ignite philanthropy through their workplace. And we can also engage their employees in learning about the work in the community and to become a volunteer. And then lastly, we can bring donors to the table, small, medium, large. We want to fuel their enthusiasm and get them engaged in this work so that they can help our community. So I really think we can mobilize people around a shared vision at the United Way, and we're going to continue to do that. And when we bring people together in a united way and we can rally around something, that's where you see real change happening. And you will see some of the partnerships that we had. Those of you that remember, we've talked about this a couple of times, the Meals on Wheels partnership. Meals on Wheels was doing an awesome job getting food out, but we knew that seniors were isolated. So we helped through our 2-on-1 see what kind of other services seniors needed. We had a great partnership with Job and Family Services. So when people were applying for benefits, for those that are eligible, we were able to give them a gift card that day, so they could go out and buy food and groceries, whatever they needed to do, because we knew that they had to wait 30 to 45 days before their benefits would kick in. We also were able to distribute iPads to isolated seniors. We heard time and time again that seniors were isolated. And thank you to those who wrote letters of encouragement too to our seniors, because the feedback we were getting about the smiles of families and individuals when they received those notes are amazing. Another, I would say, we don't talk enough about is our tax preparation service. That's an amazing thing. We did over 8,000 individual tax returns for individuals, families, and we brought in, that was more than 500 volunteers. Think about that, 500 volunteers who actually helped bring in for families more than $12 million. So, and another amazing benefit that we have. And then lastly, a service that I just realized that our families benefited from is our prescription drug benefit. We helped over 46,000 people in our community and saved over $2.4 million through that. So those are just some examples of the things that you'll see time and time again with the United Way. As I kind of think through, the last thing I want to talk about is how we are focused and lean. We want to make sure that more dollars go back into the community. So we're continually looking at our efficiencies, making sure we're reducing administrative costs. We want to make sure that every investment of the dollars that we collect go back into the community. We know that COVID-19 has disproportionately impacted families that are living in impoverished neighborhoods. And so we want to make sure that we can show up in that space, particularly around equity. One of the things that we worked really hard at doing is we knew that Black people and people of color were disproportionately affected due to this pandemic. Something that we'd already been doing at the United Way since 2007, but we put some more rigor behind, was the Black Empowerment Grants program. Just recently, the team here did an awesome job through, again, volunteers who spent many, many hours. We deployed from $600,000 over 25 grants to the community. So I'm really excited about that work. We're going to continue to see that work. And then a really great part of this program today is you're going to actually get to talk to one of our grant recipients who's with us today, Siri Amani, and she's going to tell us about the grant that she received and how she went to use it. Siri, are you there?
I am. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about the grant that you received?
Yeah, absolutely. So we received the Black Empowerment Grant, and it was for us to start a garden, which we're calling New Eden. We received $20,000 to start our own garden, and we're doing it over in the West End, downtown, in an area that is pretty much a food desert and can very much use a space where people have access to vegetables, fruit, it can come in and kind of decompress, and also use as an alternative to disciplinary action. So this grant we've been extremely excited since receiving it. It's amazing for us because, as someone who grew up in poverty, I could walk down the street and there are 1,000 corner stores, but there weren't many grocery stores or places where I could get food that would actually feed my mind, my body, not leave me feeling more tired, hype, and then, crashing. Like, I needed healthy food as a child. I think all of us need healthy food, and not just adolescents, but as an adult also. So being able to provide that to an area that we know currently doesn't have that, is huge for us. And then we're also artists, so we're always looking for ways to transform spaces and modernize these ideas that might seem a little boring or outdated to some of the youth now. So we're looking towards having, like I said, an alternative towards disciplinary actions for like ISS, having kids come work in the garden, doing poetry and music programs in the garden, overall creating a safe space in the community for youth and adults who are experiencing poverty, even homelessness, to come and be accepted, be able to get what they need, and so much more. And not only does it help the surrounding communities, but this grant is huge for us too, because we have other programs and things that we do in the community. We do programs with youth, teaching them how to teach hip hop, how to rap, sing. We have programs with our urban gardening. We have yoga programs, and all of these things. You know, we need food, we need space, and this garden really helps us with being able to do that. And especially now that we have COVID, being able to do things safely, social distancing outside, it makes things a lot more manageable.
That's wonderful. Thank you for that. I mean, it's so inspiring. And I know you're also doing some other work for us.
Yeah.
Talk about that piece, because they weren't connected, and we were just so happy that they all came together. Can you share with us a little bit about that?
I absolutely can. It is so wild to me still to this day, because they were not connected at all, like you said, in any way. But still, we ended up, so I was approached to work on the manifesto for the new direction for United Way, which I was extremely excited to do. I'm a poet, so I was going to write the manifesto to kind of explain what the hope was and who you guys were trying to turn your attention to and give chances to. And simultaneously, people on the board for my own nonprofit had applied for this Black Empowerment Grant. And I wasn't like necessarily a part of that process in the beginning, so I had no idea that these two things were happening at the same time. And like shortly after I found out, you know, that I would be doing the manifesto, I also found out that we received the $20,000 grant. So for me, it made the manifesto even easier to write, honestly, because I got to see it in action. You know, a lot of people in places will say like that they want to help people like me and people who grew up in situations with extreme poverty, even homelessness. But, you know, that's not always the case. And to see the direct action behind it when no one even knew like that I was a part of what the grant went to, but to see it happen, you know, it made it 10 times more impactful to me. It made it 10 times more real to me, and ultimately made the poem easy to write because I just spoke from my own experience and how much it meant to me and my family. It's the idea that I will have an actual garden and a land that I own, you know, that is equity, and that's something that no one can take from me now because I have the opportunity to own it myself. And I think that's the biggest thing and what means the most to me, because it's something finally that we can say like, this is ours, you know, and we can develop it. And it's so powerful when you give a community the tools to help itself. You know, it's amazing to help a community, but if you arm a community with the resources to help itself, the results are 10 times greater and the people are 10 times more grateful. And yeah, that's definitely how we feel at this moment.
Well, I think it's amazing. I love the video. And before we show it, is there anything that you would like to tell us about it? Because it really is amazing and inspiring.
Yeah, this whole experience just, it ended up being way more than I expected. And the friendships and connections that I made through this experience, honestly, they'll stay with me for a long time, because I went around to different organizations that are also receiving funding and help from United Way, and just got to talk to other people who share like backgrounds like I did. And one specific place was the Price Hill Community Center. That place was amazing. It was mostly ran by predominantly Black women. And I got to see their garden. I got to see their pantry where they were like giving people food, and it gave me an idea. It gave me a lot of hope because they're more established than we are currently. And I just got to see kind of the vision of what we could do. And then I also got to make connections with them. You know, now I have their gardeners going to come in our garden and help us. We're going to come in our garden and their garden and help them. So, you know, overall, the experience, it was really good, and it's going to help me way beyond just this moment. So I'm very appreciative for it. I really am.
Well, we are very, very appreciative of you, because your words are inspiring me right now, but the video will inspire many. So thank you again. And I would like to show it if you're okay. We're going to
absolutely
show everybody else so they can see it. Thank you.
Thank you. In any revolution, there's always been many ways. Ways to lead through action, ways to serve through purpose, ways to bring change as a collective, and ways to get the job done. For me, this hope of change had always been lonely, limited and hard, like it mattered to me only. Growing up in poverty, it seemed like a distant dream for me to own something for myself in the midst of the monopolies. Rewrite my story from tragedy to glory and make proud ancestors out of those that came before me. I often hear this debate over which way is the best way. Who's right and who's wrong? Who's weak and who's strong? The answer, we all are. Like every individual star it takes to light up the sky in the thick of the dark. Like every individual brushstroke that led to a beautiful piece of art. Like every vein that maintains a heart. United and stuck together, we are. At the end of the day, the only way is the united way. Amplifying all voices. Harnessing the collective power of resources. Lifting families out of poverty. Opening more educational opportunities. Providing access to healthcare and overall being there. Our city is no stranger to deeply rooted problems. Now is the time for comprehensive solutions. We must create the change we envision for ourselves, for us, by us. To truly lift up our city would be the biggest honor. Using over 140 partner organizations to maximize donor dollars for grassroots organizations currently smaller, the United Way is how my community will have a garden and my children with no ownership. The United Way shows we're all branches on the same tree, and sometimes we just gotta grow together to notice it. If we decide as a community we don't like what we see, we must fight it. For a tribe like mine, we choose to do it united. United is the way.
Oh my goodness. I don't know about you, but can you see me? I can't see myself. But that was
I can't see you.
all right, sorry about that. I just have to tell you that is so powerful. I've watched it 25 times. Every single time I get goosebumps, I want to like jump through the TV to hug you. That is so impactful, and that's exactly what we do. It makes me so proud. You make me so proud to represent United Way. You've just captured so perfectly what we're here to do to help our neighbors. United is truly the way to help, and I'm so inspired by you. Thank you so much for sharing that.
No, thank you all. It wouldn't have came out this way if it wasn't real. So thank you for making it happen.
Well, we love it, and I can't wait to get goosebumps again and share it for everybody to see. So thank you so much. So we have a few other guests here to speak about the collective power of the United Way. The folks we've invited are the boots on the ground. They are really doing the great work in the community. The true power, as Siri said so eloquently, is to unite resources and harness the collective power of all the work we're doing together for true systemic change. That's a big feat, but we're up for the challenge, and we will continue to do great work in our community. We're going to go right now to Susan Schiller of Bethany House Services, a United Way partner helping homeless families in our community. Susan?
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here. Bethany House is not one of the big agencies in the community, so you may not have heard of us. You may not know that we've been sheltering homeless families for 37 years. You may not even know that Cincinnati has homeless families. I know I didn't. The face of homelessness in our community is the guy on the street corner holding the cardboard sign. It definitely isn't the faces of the 800 children that we shelter each year. But United Way knows about our children. United Way does so much more than fundraise. They are a convener, they're an evaluator, they're a standard bearer. 2020 has been very challenging for all of us, but none more so than the children and families without a home. How do you shelter in place when you don't have a place? How do you maintain social distancing when you're living in a shelter with 40 other moms and kids sharing bedrooms, bathrooms, and dining rooms? United Way has their pulse on the community, and they immediately reached out to Bethany House. In those early days in March, we decided that the only way to protect our children and families from exposure to the virus and to prevent our families from being the cause of community spread, we had to close our congregate shelters and move our families into hotel rooms. United Way came to the rescue. They made the move to hotel rooms possible, and they helped with a myriad of the unanticipated expenses the pandemic brings. United Way not only helps children and families with the most basic of needs, a bed, food, clothing, they help our families on the path to what our ultimate goal is, long-term self-sufficiency. In any given year, 80 to 85% of the families that Bethany House serves are African American. The public health and racial crises we are facing today have shown a spotlight on the inequities and inequalities across our nation and in our city. Together, Bethany House and the United Way are addressing these issues. I'm grateful to each one of you for your support of the United Way, and I thank you for your time today. The next time you see a homeless person on the street corner, please think of the homeless children being helped by the United Way.
Thank you, Susan. That was absolutely fantastic. Now we're on to see a video from our United Way partner, Santa Maria, which does a lot of work with our immigrant community. Take it away, H.A.
Hi, my name is H.A. Musser. I'm the president and CEO of Santa Maria Community Services, where I've been working for about 36 years. Santa Maria's affiliation with United Way actually goes back to 1917, and we've been working in the Price Hill community for more than 50 years. For the past decade or so, one of our initiatives is one that United Way started called Place Matters. There's a lot of redevelopment happening in Price Hill thanks to the United Way's investment over the years in support of Place Matters. One example is this library behind us, the Price Hill Branch Library is a Carnegie library that we are getting a $6 million expansion and renovation of. Our primary focus, however, is working with families that have children. We want to help parents get their kids ready for kindergarten. We help people get jobs. We help people get a GED and learn financial literacy skills and become more successful in school. But we learned in working with United Way that if we can marry our early childhood programming with our workforce programming, families are going to be much more likely to be successful and move on a path out of poverty.
Hi, this is Selena Temo. I'm the Wellness and Immigrant Outreach Director here for Santa Maria Community Services, and I'm happy to share that we have been working with the immigrant community for at least 25 years. One example is this community garden in partnership with Turner Farms, that we are able to meet the families still once a week so they can come and work in the garden. This is great mental and physical therapy that we provide. We have been changing more services virtually, but we are still very involved in the community and happy to provide services and outreach.
We could not do this work without the support and leadership of the United Way of Greater Cincinnati, and we're only one of more than 130 agencies receiving their support. So thank you for giving to United Way.
Yet again, another fantastic example of what we can do when we come together. Now it's time to hear from my good friend, Vanessa Freitag, who's going to talk to us about 4C, our region's authority on quality childcare. Vanessa, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you too, Tanya, and I'm so glad to be with everyone today as we celebrate this kickoff. 4C for Children was literally born at United Way almost 50 years ago. United Way was one of our first funders, and our very first office was in United Way. And United Way understood long ago that children's start learning from birth. And those first 5 years of life have a lot to do with that child's future. Our work is with almost 1,000 child care programs in this region, nearly 20,000 families who receive help to pay for that child care. And before we start talking about what we need to do now, I have to thank United Way for what they've helped us already do. Behind me on our whiteboard is 96%. 96% of the children whose families are getting help to pay for childcare are now in programs that have reached at least an initial level of educational quality. 18 months ago, that number was under 50%. And it's United Way that has helped us accomplish that throughout the whole swath of our community. So where are we today? The fact of the matter is childcare has been at the epicenter of this pandemic. Not only the programs are struggling to keep their doors open, but they serve those working families that every day are trying to get back to their jobs so that they can feed their families and put a roof over their head. And these critical supports are going to make the difference between whether or not every one of these programs, whether or not every program is going to be able to keep its doors open. So I hope that you will be able to help us keep every door open so that every child has a quality place to go so that they can start kindergarten ready. Back to you, Tanya.
Thank you, Vanessa. Childcare is certainly going to be a major issue as we recover from COVID. So United Way stands ready to be there to help rebuild that system of care. Now we are going to hear from Paul Booth Jr. over at Legacy Point Church.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my privilege and my honor to share with you today. I'm excited about this opportunity. Legacy Point Church has been engaged in the community from our inception, partnering with school systems, for-profit and other nonprofit institutions. But I'm excited today to talk about the new United Way and its partnership with the faith community. This year, as we prepare for our big back-to-school outreach, we wanted to do something different. Usually we have our Legacy Love outreach team go through the community and distribute hundreds of backpacks to young people. But this year we wanted to do something different, and we shared our vision with the United Way. And just a couple Saturdays ago, we were able to provide over $60,000 in financial relief to families in front of the Kennedy Heights Arts Center. Now that outreach started at 11 o'clock. We had families start lining up at 9:30 that morning. Over 400 families came out. And so we not only were we able to give out financial relief to help people with necessities, but also Chromebooks. We know that in this COVID environment, the digital divide has become more apparent than ever. And so for us to be able to, as a faith community, not only address financial needs, but also address technological challenges and disparities in the community, that's such significant impact. In addition, our church has been on the front lines helping people who don't have access to masks and hand sanitizer. So every single week, our outreach teams have been going out into the community, passing out and distributing masks and sanitizer. So I want to say thank you to the United Way for leading the way and partnering with us, Job and Family Services as well, but also to Procter Gamble. We talked about today how it takes all the key stakeholders to make our community thrive. And so today, I'm excited about the new United Way and its partnership with the faith community. The faith community does a lot, and to be able to have a partner like the United Way to accelerate our reach into the community makes a significant difference. So we want you to know today that your investment is valuable, that the United Way and its partnership with the faith community is strong, and we're looking forward to even greater impact in the days ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul. I'm so excited about the work we're doing in our faith-based community. And I'm also really excited to share that for the first time ever, churches will be participating in our annual campaign. So thank you so much, Paul, and your counterparts. We are so excited. We love building relationships. And next, we are going to wrap it up with a word from Liz Vogel from Jewish Family Services. Liz?
Hi, I'm zooming from our food pantry in Clifton. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of the United Way's amazing impact in our region. I'm saying thank you on behalf of our clients, including Teresa, who likes to say that she moved to California for new opportunities, gave them all her money, and came back to Cincinnati homeless and broke. Working together, we helped Teresa get back onto her feet and into her own home and launch a sustainable career. And while she doesn't need us anymore, We're here when she wants us to offer a little boost through our mental health support group. And I'll also say thank you on behalf of the elementary school student who casually told her teacher that she and her siblings didn't have anything to eat the night before. And for her father, who cried when we opened the doors of our pantry for him at 10 o'clock that night so his kids wouldn't go hungry again. Since COVID-19 impacted our region, we've seen a 25% increase in people seeking support from our food pantry. We're providing emergency rent assistance and emergency mortgage assistance so people don't lose their homes. Groceries and PPE are being delivered to seniors, and remote group programming is helping them combat social isolation, while our counselors are supporting people through the emotional strain of COVID-19. This is the type of work we're united in doing together. As an agency serving nearly 200 Holocaust survivors, we take to heart this call from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And we commend the leadership of the United Way in prioritizing diversity, equity, and inclusion, and its work and the work of the agencies it supports. At Jewish Family Service, we're grateful beyond words for the funding and also the training programs and the expertise available from the United Way, so we can help people like Teresa get back on her feet. In Judaism, there's a saying, saving one life is saving the world. And that is the power of United Way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Liz. That was beautiful. One of the things that is so special to me as I'm hearing all of these stories is how it's not just that we support agencies, but we forge partnerships. We know who needs to talk to whom along the way and how we can really build a system of care for families to truly be successful. They need help in more than one ways, as you've all mentioned. So the United Way is really a way to bring everybody to the table. Now we are on to a very exciting announcement. Mr. Taylor, do you have something to share with us?
Yes, but first, before I go to the announcement, I do want to thank the participants. I thought these stories were great, and starting with Siri, fabulous video, and frankly, the story was wonderful. You get excited every time you hear it, but also Susan at Bethany House, HA at Santa Monica, Vanessa at 4C, Paul at Legacy Point, Liz at Jewish Family Service, all these organizations, to me, and this is just some of the many, many organizations that United Way touches. But the announcement part is, you may hopefully remember, we started this summer with an effort to try to increase the amount of giving for the summer and really get off to the strongest start of the bigger part of the campaign that typically runs in the fall. So we announced that we do a summer sprint. We set a goal of $10 million raised by Labor Day. And the intent was to have 10 million of the overall goal of 50, knowing it's a challenging goal, but also knowing that there's great capacity in Cincinnati for caring for others. We wanted to raise incremental funds above and beyond what would have normally come if we just let things go as they normally would, where we still have very robust campaigns. I'm thrilled to let you know that over the course of the summer, so many people have stepped up that we're going to end the year, end the summer at least, sprint with $11 million and hundreds of thousands of dollars of incremental money raised. And it's because of the generosity of so many people, many probably on this video, but also so many others. So 11 million, and I'd say that's a really good start. We've got so much more we can and need to do, because we do know the hill is steep, because some of the companies now that'll be running their campaigns have been hit pretty hard, but it's great to get off to a great start. So 11 million, I'm thrilled, and I want to recognize many, starting with the pace setters, and I think we'll put a slide up. These are companies that kicked us off early. Some normally run early, but many move their campaign up to help us get off to a strong start. They've really given the rest of us something to live up to. And you can look at the names here. I want to pause for a second. Look at the 17 organizations and companies that ran their campaigns. All of you have made a difference, and you're helping us all as we go into the fall. We've got momentum, and we're showing, to me, the broader community that we care and that we will step up. But this is a marathon, not a sprint. So it's great that we're off to a strong start. It's great that we got 11 million, and we have 39 million more to go. And even more, because frankly, the needs, as you've heard, are very high. We must be accountable to ourselves. not just to hit targets, but to do everything we can to help the people that truly have needs. And there's so many agencies that are ready to help people, but they need help with resources, and that's where the United Way comes in. We need to help fill these gaps. And my belief is we are capable. It's one of the reasons here at Procter & Gamble, we're looking forward to our campaign, and I think many companies and organizations are as well. We know it's going to be challenging. For many of us, it'll be done virtually. We haven't ever done one of those before. Having said that, we see all of these changes as a challenge, an opportunity to tap in to technology, tap into the goodwill of each other, of your coworkers, and frankly, of the collective community to make a difference. We wanted this to be a diverse and inclusive campaign. We want to touch everyone that can help so that we can help everyone that needs help. And to do that, we really, and I honestly do believe for the 40 years I've been at Procter & Gamble, United Way has been an important part of how we collectively can help the communities in which we live and work. And we're happy and honored to do so. United Way's business model in many ways is similar to Procter & Gamble's. We try to reach new users at P&G to our brands. United Way needs to reach more people, those that are able to help those that need the help. In addition, we try to have brands that frankly invite people to be more loyal to our brands and invest more. And we need people that already are participating, if they can possibly help, to invest more this year because the needs are greater. And I know it's a big ask this year. Having said that, is all you have to do is listen to whether it's Siri or each one of the leaders of these agencies. And my hope is, and my belief is, that you'll be even more motivated than you were at the beginning, and you wouldn't be on this call if you weren't motivated to help. So again, I do thank each of you. United Way needs increased participation this year. We genuinely need people to step up where they can. So my ask of everyone, and that includes myself, it includes those here at P&G and all others, be ambassadors to the community. It's a chance for us to go out and carry the message. United Way is making changes. Moira is leading an organization that's agile, they're in touch, they're making a difference. We have a wonderful leader and a wonderful organization that wants to help, but they need our help. Together, we're able to do such a big difference. There's a notion that I really like. It's called positive gossip. People love to gossip and talk what's wrong often in our community. How about let's talk about what's right in our community? Positive gossip generates energy and enthusiasm. There was a famous general, Colin Powell, that later served in the government. And one of the statements he made is, optimism is a force multiplier. To me, I am optimistic about Cincinnati, about our greater community because of the people here. And you just heard a number of the people that work for some of the leading nonprofits, and you see what they're doing every day to help folks. And so that causes me to believe, what else can I do or should I do to make a difference? So I do ask you to, again, be an ambassador, spread positive gossip, personally commit. Your commitment will motivate others. You know, one of the last stories I want to share, and then I know we're going to have a couple minutes to get to Q&A. Many years ago when I started at P&G, I was encouraged to participate in the community, and I was volunteering for an event. This was a Chamber of Commerce event. And we had a Baptist minister come speak to us before we went out to canvass for the chamber. And he talked about a number of things, but one story that stuck with me all these years was, he said, in any community, there's people that live in the community. There's some people that live off the community, but there's some people that live for the community. People that believe that they have a responsibility, have an opportunity to serve others. And to me, I believe the people on this video, and frankly, many of the colleagues that I work with, are those kind of people. And I want P&G to be one of those companies that if we're in a community, if we touch it, we want to make it better. We want to make a difference, lend the capabilities and skills we have to help improve it. And I believe that there's so many fine organizations and companies in Cincinnati that can do just that. So I ask you, for all of us, and for all those that need help, to step up and step forward to the challenge this year. I look forward to, when the day is right, to meeting many of you in person. But for now, thank you so much for what you're doing and what you're going to do. United Way, to me, is the best way I know to help. And now I'd like to open it up. Moira and myself would be happy to take any questions, and certainly any comments are welcome as well. But thank you all.
May have covered it all. We'll give it a couple of minutes, but I did want to share that in terms of positive gossip, I'm sorry we were muted because when you made the announcement, the summer sprint, there were cheers, there was a gong. So please pass that along that we are so excited here. There was just a fury of excitement on the United Way floors. So thank you for that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, yeah, if there are questions, certainly we're happy to take them. And again, it is such an opportunity and such, frankly, responsibility we have, I think, for our community to make a difference. So please tap into the resources at United Way. And for the campaign cabinet, some of the members are probably on this video as well. I thank you for what you're doing. All of you step forward at a time when many of your businesses and organizations were challenged. So thank you.
We did get a question in the group from Rosemary. Hi, Rosemary. What is our total goal this year?
Our goal is 50 million, and 50 million is a big number, especially with some companies and organizations that have had meaningful impacts, tough impacts. Having said that, what I like to think of, and this is even more ambitious, is goals or floors. The ceiling is frankly boundless. And when we set a goal with P&G, the way we want to approach it is that's the minimum that we'd like to be able to do. Now, I know this year it's very aggressive in all seriousness. Having said that, the need keeps going up. And until we get to the other side of COVID, and we all want that to be as soon as possible, there are going to be a lot of families, a lot of children, a lot of elderly, a lot of folks that need our help. And just as you heard from many of the leaders of the organizations that are serving these people, these are folks, frankly, that something happened and put them in a very difficult place, and they just need help, a bridge to get to the other side. And we can help. And United Way is the best way I know how to do it. 50 million, at least.
Wonderful. One other question from Barbara. Can anyone share tips for a successful virtual campaign? That's an excellent question. I'm sure we have some panelists who might be able to answer that question.
Does anybody have any? We've never run a virtual campaign. What I do believe, though, having been many, many hours in front of the computer screens, is you can look at it as something that gets in the way. You can also look at it as an opportunity. Think about it. For a wide group of people has a very short commute to a computer. And so the chance to reach more people is there. And it can be a quality connection. There's a lot of tools, whether you use Zoom, WebEx, Microsoft Teams, you name it. There's a number of platforms that can be used to have a one-to-one discussion where at work they may have been tied up. You can reach them any of a number of different hours in the day. So I would look at this as an opportunity to better connect, an opportunity to connect some of the many agencies that do incredible things that sometimes scheduling is tough. Now we can find a time that's convenient for both, and hopefully learn more about the community and the many people that help others. So again, I think we have to reframe issues and find that things that look like they're barriers, reframe them and say, how do I make that a positive? And it's gonna be a challenge, but it's gonna be a learning effort for all of us, but we still can get it done.
Great.
Other ideas, anybody that's run a virtual campaign?
Prizes apparently are very positive and people love them for showing up to the Zoom calls. We're getting that from several people in the chat.
I was going to say it's a great way to come together at a time when we're all looking for ways, meaningful ways to connect with our coworkers. And so convening around your United Way kickoff could be a way to really have some meaningful conversations about what there is positive going on in the community around us. And it could be very uplifting, aspirational experience and way of reconnecting for organizations working remotely.
I would add at Bethany House, we looked at it like this was another opportunity to talk about all the work that the United Way does. And so we use some of the same things that we've always done, incentive prizes for contributing, we just bringing in people to talk about the work that we've done and the work that other people do in our community, and making sure that we could relate it to all of our employees, because there's so many different agencies within our community that provide so many different services.
And if you haven't visited our toolkit, please visit our website. We have so many ideas, from virtual bus tours to games to just great ways to entertain and really connect with your folks in a virtual setting. David, I have one last question for you, unless we get any more. On this journey of leading this campaign, what has surprised you the most? That's an excellent question. Thank you, Shane.
The willingness of people to take my call. I tell you, when we first started it, we brainstormed a list of campaign cabinet, and the list turned into first 40, 50, 60. It got up to, I don't know, 70 or 80. I don't even remember the number. And we broke it up amongst the 5 chairs, vice chairs, to make, and a few other folks to help make calls. And I was hoping to get at least a number of them to say yes to a person. Every single person I called said yes, they would help out. They'd make a phone call, they would tap into their resource network and do something. And some of these were companies or organizations that had been hit, including calling some faith-based organizations that typically haven't been as involved in the United Way campaign because they have their own challenges trying to raise for their organizations. Every single one of them said yes. And that was, to me, one of the pleasant surprises where, you know, one of the things we have to watch out for is don't say no to yourself before you give it a chance. So if you think there's an opportunity, you know, start with yes and then be proven wrong. And my guess is you won't be. I think people will step up. Often it's us. One of my favorite sayings is the biggest barriers in life are often self-imposed. There's ones that in our mind, we talk ourselves out of trying something. And so the learning on this one to me so far has been pick up the phone, call somebody, do a quick video call, you know, tell them why you care. And my guess is more will step up. I've been pleasantly surprised and frankly inspired by the generosity of the people in this community.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your leadership. We couldn't do it without you. We are so grateful. For all of you who'd like more ideas on how to build your virtual campaign, we will be in touch. We'll follow up with you and give you some ideas, but we are always here to help. We are always here to help maximize all of the campaigns and make them as impactful, even if they are virtual. So thank you again for your time. If you need anything at all, we're always here for you to help. We appreciate every single thing you've done and will continue to do to get us to 50 plus. What did you call it? The base?
That's the floor.
The floor, okay.
Anybody that's had any time with Moira and many of the people know we need to work harder because she and her organization are frankly changing whatever needs to be changed in order to serve this community. And frankly, her energy and leadership and the United Way's willingness to help us, help them, hopefully will motivate all of us to step up, step forward and get this done. So good luck to everybody and thank you again.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Bye-bye.